Next is the near hind. Clean out the hoof, unclench the nails and gently remove the shoe. Always check for 6 nails and 6 shanks. Then clean out the frog sole junction, identify the critical heel junction, and mark the sole hoof wall junction. Then remove excess hoof wall at the toe only. Retrim the sole to get sole pressure away from the hoof wall at the toe. Note the stretching in the laminae from the excessive toe length. Mark the excess hoof capsule thickness to be removed at the toe. Rasp the toe. Always alternate the direction of the rasp. Compare the toe measurement, which is now correct, with the heel measurement. Mark and remove the excess heel. And check for correct measurement. Check the medial lateral measurement. Then take the foot forward and mark the flares to be removed. Remember that the hind foot needs to be a diamond shape. So we need to dress this foot down to achieve this diamond shape. This is something you will achieve with practice. You can see the difference in the two sides after rasping that fullness. Now we can go back underneath again and have a look back there. By the time I put that toe clip in, the shoe is actually going to be the right shape. So you can see here the actual shape of the white line is more like a diamond shape, more like that shoe anyway. And all I've done is reduced it there and there. It's still perhaps a little thick at the toe. The measurement we know is correct. We put the shoe on there with the heels finishing at the buttress of the heel. Level, not twisted this way or that way. Finger where the toe clip's going to be and cut a little notch out for that toe clip. Little V-shaped notch. Put the shoe on there. You can see the heel of the shoe follows the profile of the hoof. The toe starts at the toe where it finishes with, and the shoe is flush all the way around. Once again, get into that happy spot down there. We use the second inside nail as a starting nail and drive it in. Twist it off, as close as you can to the hoof. See how that hand of mine always goes to the front of the hoof whenever the nails are coming through for safety. Up there, not back here. That nail comes through and he rips his leg out and goes straight through his fingers. When that happens, grab your pinches and just cut it off. Two on the inside. You can see how few hits it takes. Once you become confident with this nailing, the less hits you do, the better to get that nail in, because it's actually the positiveness with which that nail goes through the hoof wall which allows this bevel on the inside to actually work properly. If you go in too slowly, it tends to cancel that bevel on the tip of the nail, and often the nail will go straight up. If you just tap, 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 like this, get it in and hit it positively so that it gives that bevel on the tip of the nail a chance to be directional. Even number of hits on each nail. Now we go forward and finish that off. Clean out under the nails. Now just follow even. And then hammer clinch this way. That nail there is a fair bit higher than the other two. Just down below that is the old nail hole, directly in line. And I had two options. Either I go in the old nail hole and end up with a low clinch, or I try and miss it and end up with a slightly higher clinch. And that's still quite safe up there. It's not in danger, but it's now strong. So, just to finish this off. See, hardly any rasping to do. It's just very, very minimal. You hear the rasp touching the shoe all the way around. It just simply means that I've pre-prepared this hoof to such an extent where when I'm finished nailing and clenching, I'm actually finished the hoof. Just finish it off nicely. Now if we've got this foot level and T-squared down the back, this back foot will now point directly towards the front foot. Lastly, the off hind. Clean out the sole, cut the clinches and gently remove the shoe. Check for 6 nails and 6 shanks and clean out the excess sole. Trim the frog. Identify the critical heel junction and the active tip of the frog. Identify the hoof sole junction. Remove the excess growth. Mark where the heels need to be dropped. Remove the excess hoof wall thickness and lower the heels and correct the flares. You can see how this is now pointing in a straight line to the front of the hoof. It's not standing cow hock. Right, so this means that we've got those heels nice and level underneath. It just fits beautifully right around there. Cut the toe clip in. Now ready to be put on. Nail between your thumb and forefinger, flat side to the outside and parallel with the outside hook wall, and drive it in. Okay. Next nail. Now horses love rhythm. Whatever you're doing with a horse, if you maintain and set up a rhythm, you almost put the horse to sleep. So when you're doing this nailing, get into the habit of getting a rhythm flowing, because it would be a safety net. If you stop and start every 5 seconds, the horse thinks, uh-oh, what's going on, and he'll start to panic. So whatever you do, keep your rhythm going. Hang out underneath the clinches. I found that this is a far better way of doing it than with a rasp. You don't leave these horizontal cuts in the hoof wall, and especially if you're showing, those horizontal cuts just look terrible. Whereas you can do it quite nicely with a knife, you don't really injure that hoof wall at all. Hammer the pieces down and in. Tap the toe clip in. There's hardly any need to do that because they're so neat. So you can see now with hammer clinching how little disturbance there is above each of these finished clinches. With the difference is with the clinching tongs is when you pull that nail down, you tend to pull it too far and it tears more nail down through more hoof wall and you end up with a big cavity up the top there. Now you've already hammered the head and turned the clinch over with your clinching block, and now you're using these things and it's going to unnecessarily tear that nail further down through the hoof capsule, which is to great disadvantage of the structural integrity of this hoof wall. So hammer clinching is far, far more accurate and a lot less intrusive of that hoof wall. The clinching tongs are necessary in your box for if you ever get a horse with very sensitive feet that won't handle the hammering of the clinching. And so then you use those, but you use them very sparingly. Okay? Lovely. Come on. And that, my friend, is that. Straight down there with all 4 feet pointing forward.